From the On Target Digital Marketing Podcasting Studios in sunny Orlando, Florida, it's the T-Squared Tech Talk Podcast with Tom Jelneck and Tom Craig. It's a frickin' Friday afternoon, Tom, and you know what that means.
Another edition of the T-Squared Tech Talk Podcast.
Listen for it, Tom. Wait for it.
Ah, the sound of Mountain Dew.
And caffeine.
Gotta love it.
It's a Friday afternoon. It's been a long week, Tom.
It's been a great week.
A good week, a prosperous week, if
It
you will.
has. It has.
And excited. I just popped up the, thanks to Mason, popped up one of the latest T-Squared Tech Talk podcasts to the old SoundCloud account.
Yeah?
Can't wait to listen to it in the car ride home.
All right. Ditto. I'll have to make sure I check that out on SoundCloud.com.
You can check it out at
SoundCloud.com,
SoundCloud.com, Tom, or Apple iTunes. And, of course, you being such an Apple fan, that might be a logical place for you to search for that.
Well, you know, I did create a test workstation within the environment so we could load an Apple piece of software onto that. We definitely don't want that on the production equipment.
You definitely don't want to litter a PC with an amazing piece of software.
Absolutely not. Not after hearing about Apple's lack of security for our data this week and how they're.
I don't recall.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to start getting you some of these other articles away from the iloveapple.com website that you so frequent.
I am on there all the time, Tom.
I know.
You're right. Yeah.
I see you as number one user of that site.
I'm a fanboy, Tom. That's what they call them.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
So listen, here at the T-Squared Tech Talk Podcast, we dig into a lot of topics involving tech and security, marketing. We've talked about, Tom, we've certainly talked about the in-laws and how to properly drug them.
Yeah, well, you know, people need to know, Tom.
They do. And I think pointers about NyQuil dosage is really critical. And I think the podcast sphere is just hungry for that kind of information.
And I just hope that it's never used against us in the court of law.
Me too, Tom. That's right.
So,
but you know, one of the common threads that we kind of address here on the T-Squared Tech Talk Podcast is software updates, Tom, or lack thereof.
Boy, you know, procrastination's a big thing when it comes to security and updating, just because it's so cumbersome. Usually the only time people are updating is when they're forced to, or as Murphy's Law dictates, when you step into the conference, you're getting ready for the proposal, you pull up the PowerPoint presentation, and suddenly
crickets.
Computer is shutting down, applying updates.
Oh, that's the worst.
No.
And I think your favorite operating system is notorious for that kind of tomfoolery, Tom.
They certainly are, and tomfoolery indeed. Yeah, everybody knows that if you're going to step into a presentation, you should probably restart your computer right beforehand and maybe even check your updates and make sure they've applied recently, because man, it's happened way too many times.
It does suck, and it's embarrassing. Yeah. And have you been in the situation where, you know, you're stepping up to the podium, you're ready to rock, you plug in your stuff to the projector, and either the dongle doesn't work, or your computer's just not cooperating, or the sweat starts to drip from the brow there, Tom? It's a lot.
I remember those days. But those days are long past. Do you know why?
Tell me why, Tom.
Procrastination has gone by the wayside from this old boy.
That's right.
Yep. Nowadays, when I'm going to be stepping into a presentation, you can guarantee that I've restarted the computer a few times. I've run that presentation every way to Sunday, and I've tested the hardware there on site and brought additionals.
I think the School of Hard Knocks has taught you well, Tom.
I could tell you stories that would fill this whole podcast of an entire room of conference attendees looking at you wondering,
how long is it going to take this guy to restore services?
You know, I'm sometimes called a control freak by my wife, and it might be partially true. But I was doing a presentation last week at a gala, and I was asked to speak and kind of give a moving thing, because they were trying to raise some shekels there, Tom, trying to raise some money. So I felt a little bit obligated to bring it, right? As I do. So I built this presentation, and I'm like, I'm going to bring my Mac.
First problem.
No, negative. I'm going to bring my Mac. I'd like to use it.
No, we have PCs.
Okay. Well, will I be operating the PC?
No, somebody will operate your presentation as you give it.
I like to kind of. No, it's not. It's not. It is the antithesis of enjoyable because
I agree.
I need to be in charge of my own presentation.
Even then, if it's somebody you don't know, how are you going to really work out those hand signals and
Right.
gestures and make sure they're on it like we expect them to be?
Right. So I'm having a great time giving this presentation, and I was really proud of it, but I had to stop for every slide and point over to the IT guy behind the crappy PC to say, push the space bar.
Yep.
So really interesting experience, but I've also gotten as neurotic, much like yourself. I will copy that presentation in 3 different formats on 3 different thumb drives, put it in the cloud, put it on the desktop. So I'm a prepared individual when it comes to these presentations, Tom.
Yep. You know, I even went out and bought my own laser pointer and remote clicker recently for those times when I had to step into somebody's computer that doesn't have that.
Exactly.
Yep. So
Do you ever
works
take
out
the
well.
laser pointer with the in-laws and get them to kind of track it on the wall?
I tried to do it like I do with the cats and get
Yeah.
them to chase around on the floor. The
Yeah.
problem is
What?
eyesight.
Oh, yeah.
Can't see it.
Yeah, and you can't stick the laser in their eyes.
Yeah, well, again, I think that's why the eyesight went bad. But that's a
it's-
whole different podcast.
Right, it's a likely, that could happen.
They looked good with that dollar, signed laser on their forehead. But that
It was
again,
nice.
Different
Very
story.
nice, very nice.
So,
Nice shade of red too. So, listen on the show today a little bit about procrastination and how procrastination is actually costing people in the tech space, people with home computers, people with iPhones, you name it, millions and millions of dollars. And why is that, Tom?
not just a little procrastination either. We are talking boatloads here.
Or buttloads?
Boatloads is what we'll stick with.
Well, we could go with buttloads.
I don't know. It's 2019, Tom. We can get in trouble for that. I mean, if we're going to be running for president anytime soon, people could throw
Tom,
that back on us.
Let's face it. Let's rewind this a little bit. We just drugged our in-laws with NyQuil. I think we can get away with buttload.
You know what? I think you've got something there. I think you're absolutely right. But procrastination in mass amounts, I will say. And you don't have to look too far back to see why people shouldn't be procrastinating. And here's what we're dealing with. At the end of this year, in the beginning of January 2020, support will end on Microsoft Server 2008 products and Microsoft Windows 7 workstations.
That's too bad, Tom.
It is. But they gave 10 years of support when they released these products, and it's a little over 10 years. And yeah, it's time for people to upgrade to the more recent, more robust, and more importantly, more secure operating systems.
You know what else gives 10 years of support, Tom?
What's that?
Jock straps.
Yeah?
Yeah. So
I'd-
we could draw a strong correlation between a Windows PC environment and a jock strap.
And a 10-year-old jock strap?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
There
Yeah.
you go. Okay, well, we'll paint that picture in a minute.
If you want me to,
There you
I
go.
can break
We'll-
that down.
We'll get back to that. We might come back to that if we've got time. But what's really important now is that this is coming up. And in the last time this happened was with Server 2003
Garbage.
and Microsoft XP.
Garbage.
And they certainly were, and here's why.
What? Wait, what?
They reached end of life, and Microsoft gave the same warnings that they're giving now, saying that we are no longer going to issue security updates and patches for bugs that we find in these operating systems. So therefore, you should upgrade. And people around the globe thought, well, you know what? This is working so well, and I paid so much for this computer that I don't think it's advantageous for us to upgrade right now. So they left the status quo. What happened was May of 2017 came along. There was a known exploit in these operating systems that, depending on who you talk to, it was or was not North Korea, but they created WannaCry, a strain of ransomware that was released. And as I say, in May of 2017, there was hundreds of thousands of organizations, hundreds of thousands of computers, 150 different countries, many different organizations. I don't know the exact count.
All PCs.
For this one, you're absolutely right.
That's
Because
right.
that's what runs the workstation. That's what runs the world is the
Poorly.
Microsoft operating system. And what happened was everybody came into work, and I mean, we're talking hospitals and big corporations, and turned on the computer, and there was the note. Your files have been locked. Please pay Bitcoin to this address. And you can just imagine if a hospital, all the computers were suddenly inoperable,
I see what you did there, Tom.
That's going to be some serious chaos.
Yeah.
So it really was, and Microsoft, God bless them, stepped up to the
God
plate,
bless 'em.
and they released a security patch that was, they stopped supporting these operating systems years before, but they were nice enough to take the time.
You mean they did their job, Tom?
Oh, no. They stepped up and helped the procrastinators, right? But we shouldn't get used to that. That happened, but think about the amount of time that was taken away from businesses, when they were just down and couldn't operate before Microsoft released this patch. And then forget the patch. You've got to clean your systems. You've got to get your data back. You've got to reinstall operating systems. It's a very time-consuming thing. And not to mention, it's a big black eye for your organization. So that's why I'm really trying to tell people that they should start now, because there's only 8 months left. And that includes the amount of time that it's going to take you to really look at your current capacity, what you have now, and what you're going to need in the years coming, and planning that properly. You can't just...
Oh, let's get a new computer, bring it in here, slap it in. Okay, we're ready to go.
No, you've got to understand what software you've got on there. What version of software is that? Does that version of software run well on the newer operating systems, or are you going to have to update that software as well? So there's really a lot of thought and preparation that's required to make sure that your transition is going to be as seamless as possible.
You know what they could do, Tom?
Tell me.
They could buy an Apple.
But then what would they
problem
do?
solved, right?
I mean, you could,
just-
okay, great. You can make some videos. You can make some music.
You could make some podcasts
You
like
could-
we're doing right now,
You could
Tom.
paint a picture, a
Yes.
pretty little picture. My friend Mia in DC, some of the most beautiful pictures come off her iPad. But when you really want it, when a hospital needs to do some serious work and get down to it and make things happen, I don't see the Apple MacBook Pro in there, because it's either you get a heart transplant at $100,000 or you get a MacBook Pro at $100,000. Which are you going to go with?
The MacBook Pro.
See, that's exactly. Shantae, I hope you're listening today. This is very informative for her.
Very informative, Tom.
Yep. No, it's probably not. I'm sure she knows where your priorities are.
She does, my friend. Yeah, she
Yep,
does,
yep.
actually. Yeah.
Smart woman.
She is.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep. So it's very important that people think about this and not procrastinate. So please, everyone, that's I'm begging you, start thinking about it now. Start putting that plan together. And if you have any questions, let Tom or I know, because we're here for people. And
We are.
We definitely know a thing or two about putting together some reports and some data for them, and getting it over and making sure they have plenty of information to review.
I feel like you're baiting me there, Tom. a little
Yeah?
bit. Are you?
Well,
Are you?
No, I'm just talking.
Is it story time, Tom?
If you've got a story, Tom, we would love to hear it.
Speaking of procrastination, Tom.
Okay, bring it.
You know one thing that really frosts my ass, other than the in-laws?
Bring the advanced system solutions.
You're always behind me. I
There you
appreciate
go.
that.
Yep,
So,
yep.
So one of the things that I am as you are, your organization, Advanced System Solutions, is really driven by superior customer service, right? Like,
Absolutely.
I know you go the extra mile.
No doubt.
Sometimes to a fault, and I'd be the first to admit that. Sometimes On Target has done people so many favors that they come back to expect it, right? So when you finally have to, draw a boundary there, it's like, oh wait, I have to pay for something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's boundaries to everything, Tom, and I've kind of had some recent encounters that are a little bit frustrating as I try to be a partner to other companies,
Yes.
as you do.
Understood.
I don't want to be anyone's vendor, if that makes sense.
Nope. Trusted partner is what we're shooting for.
Amen.
Yep.
So trusted partners look out for each other, right?
Absolutely.
So let me share. I gotta paint the picture for you with my Mac.
Here's a brush.
So it's like Bob Ross moment.
See?
Happy little trees.
Yep. See?
Jinx.
There we are.
You owe me a Coke. So anyway, just getting frustrated. I'll go spend. Somebody will come to me and say, "Hey Tom, we need a new marketing program. We need a new website. We need branding. Blah blah blah." So not only do I think a lot about that particular client or prospect and their needs and what they're looking for, but I also physically go down and tour either their facility. I get to know them. I build rapport. So I've already invested before I even kind of get to writing anyone a proposal, a couple hours,
Yeah.
right? So hours of my life, as your life, are worth money. Time is money, bitches.
That's right.
So, it's I go down and I'll ask, can I create a proposal for you?
Oh, we'd love that. That'd be wonderful.
Yep.
If you could just do that.
The conversation to this point has just been warm and fuzzy.
Everything's peachy keen,
It's
Tom.
just golden.
I come back to the office. One of my new practices is I handwrite thank you cards.
Beautiful.
It's my thing. People
Awesome.
dig it. Yeah, we're digital. We're on computers. Well, great computers in my case, crappy computers in your case. But
Which is why I had to pre-print my thank you cards.
correct.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I handwrite mine as
Okay.
just an extra special touch, Tom.
That's awesome.
So I'll do that. I'll send it out. I'll do the follow up. I'll call there, leave a voicemail, and then I send the proposal.
Okay.
Crickets, Tom.
Witness protection program?
Gone. Dunsies. Out of the gone.
it.
Period.
Yep. Off
so
the map.
my frustration is I've already put about 10 hours into this particular prospect, and you multiply that times a couple. I think, like you and I were talking before the show, the world is losing a lot of this personal touch, and please and thank yous go a really long way, don't they, Tom?
Amen. I had a wonderful conversation about that earlier this week with a business person who was actually emphasizing that exact same topic, and that you need to understand your trusted vendors and the work that they actually provide for you. And as we were talking about this, I think, when Mason was bringing up that a lot of people don't really know how much time and effort we put into these proposals.
Sure.
And not just time and effort, but blood, sweat, and tears, literally.
Yeah.
Part of this conversation, not to go too far down the rabbit hole here, but part
We
of this
never do that on the
conversation-
T-Squared, so no, not us.
No, so stick with us, Andy. We're going to get to the point of this here in a minute. The big thing is that a lot of companies don't stay up at night thinking about this. They don't stay up worrying about this. They don't lose sleep. They don't have a knot in their stomach wondering, are we doing the best we can possibly do for our clients? And you know what he said? Those who don't do that are going to fail.
Wow.
But those who do lose sleep, worry about the client's problems, making sure that we can match their expectations and deliver, solid solutions, we're going to succeed, and we're going to, rise to the top, if you will. But we're never going to do that if we don't get the proper feedback.
Absolutely right.
Yep. So feedback is very important, and especially once you've worked to get this proposal. So you've got your proposal created now. You put your time in and effort. It's time to go present it to the client or pass it along to them. And as you say, crickets. Witness protection program.
They're gone. Gone. Email after email, phone call after phone call, no response, no return.
No respect.
No, it's zero. And my proposal system is super neato mosquito, Tom. It'll actually tell me if somebody opens it, and I can tell how much time they've spent. So imagine when I open the dashboard and I see like zero. They've never even opened it. And you're just like, did they hate me? Did I
Exactly.
Did I
they
insult
not-
their cat? What happened?
Yeah. Do they not know that this took 8 or 10 hours of my truly understanding their position, their goals, and trying to see what it would take to take them from point A to point B
Right.
in a reasonable fashion.
I think the moral of the whole situation here is please and thank yous go a really long way. If you do ask somebody for a proposal, just realize, like you said, we do spend hours and hours working on these things
Yeah.
and thinking them through. And I do stay up at night, and I do lose sleep, and I do get those gut wrenching. Am I going to win this?
When I heard that, it really struck home with me, because I was thinking to myself, perhaps I'm in the wrong business. Perhaps I care too much. But I don't think that's the case. You know who doesn't care too much?
Tell me.
The competition who turned in the one-pager proposal.
Right.
Yeah, with
Right.
the one-line update of website.
And doesn't it drive you nuts when that company actually wins it?
Yeah, well, blessed to say that those proposals have always been pushed to me after we won our proposal, saying this is what the competition turned in. Yeah, so it always makes me feel really good seeing that. But yeah, if I found out that I lost to some of them, you know what? That's not a client we need, because
So-
they don't get it.
You said feedback, Tom, and I had a flashback.
Okay.
The in-laws.
Yeah. Oh, too
Tom?
much feedback. Here it
Yeah.
comes.
You want to talk about feedback,
I
Tom?
hear it now.
Oh, you can't get feedback out of people about their proposals. I'll tell you what, you cook a steak for an in-law and see what kind of feedback you get then.
That's not all you're going to get.
No, you get the gas too, Tom.
Yeah, well,
you get
that's why,
gassed.
Metamucil steaks are what we're cooking these days over the Craig
I heard
household.
they're delicious.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That makes it on the guest plates. the filet mignon stays on the home plate, if you will.
Tom, this juice tastes funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, I bet it does.
Sure does, Meemaw. Keep going. Yep. So
Finish it up.
Yep. So, but no, that's what I've had to start doing is because that happened to me a couple times, and I said, you know what, I would rather lose the potential client beforehand rather than have them go into the witness protection program and me get frustrated.
Right.
So I have now gotten so bold as to I won't produce a proposal. Well, I'll produce it. I won't present it unless I'm in person. And the reason is that people all too often will look at a proposal, they'll flip to page 7 looking for the price, they'll compare it to the other one-pager and look at the bottom of the page at their price and go, oh, well, this other company is a little bit cheaper. But they don't understand why our price is what it is because they didn't read the first 6 pages of what we do that the other company doesn't.
Not comparing apples to apples, Tom.
Not at all. So they're just comparing price to price. And if that's all they're looking for, then they are not going to win by coming to us.
Well, and it's not, you're not going to win either.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 100%. I mean, very, very sound logic that you're dishing out right now, Tom. And I think I just probably need to take a step back and look at who I'm giving proposals to and making sure, that is who we want to work with because you can't give us the time of day and say thank you or please or wow, we really appreciate your time.
Like Pam in Sanford. Well, at least that used to be her name. She's gone into the witness protection program now, and we can't find her.
She's gone.
She's gone. She got not only the proposal, but we even went the extra mile because it was a good reference from a good friend of ours, a good referral, and we went ahead and gave her some tips on how to go ahead and start getting things in line. And boy, as soon as that piece of paper crossed the threshold, all emails were gone, all phone calls went straight to voicemail. I think they realized they got a little bit of free information there. And you know what? Again, if that's what you're looking for is just that little bit of free something, hey, I'll give it to you.
Sure.
But I'm certainly not going to give you 8-10 hours of my time in a proposal to talk about your business and how to improve it.
I had a lady came to me about 3 times now, and Mason's making cool sound effects in the podcast.
I'm just
studio.
happy that wasn't me.
Yeah, me too. That was a cool sound effect, man. It was like a little springy.
Yeah.
So this lady's come to me several times, sat here in the office. We've discussed. She came to me and said, you know what? I want to do a podcast. And I was like, great. Here's a proposal. I already talked to her. I already knew her brand. I already understood. So she writes back, I'd like to come in for a meeting to discuss logistics. Logistics.
Okay.
Logistics, Tom. We're going to discuss logistics.
Okay. Are we shipping things across the country?
We
here?
are not.
Oh,
We're making
okay.
podcasts here, Tom.
All right.
So I put a lot of thought into that email request because she just wanted to come in, and I've gotten to the point where I wrote her back graciously, of course, as the exuberant customer service representative that I am of On Target Digital Marketing. I wrote, listen, once you accept our proposal and we get through that process, we can have a talk about logistics. And crickets. All gone, Tom.
Yeah.
But, I can't and you can't, and I'd encourage our listeners, you can't always be giving away the farm.
Nope.
People will come in, suck your brain dry, and leave. And I'm a giver, just like our program here, Tom. We're all about the giving. But it's with boundaries, and you've got to watch your butt.
You know what this reminds me of?
Tell me.
The mattress store.
Oh.
I'm not talking now. If there is a company called the mattress store, I'm not actually talking about that company. I'm talking about mattress stores in general.
In general.
People tend to go in there. They lay on the king. They lay on the firm. They lay on the soft. They get an idea for what they want. They make sure it's going to work for the in-laws. And then,
Tom, what's this sell for on Amazon?
Can
we get this on eBay any cheaper?
eBay. Craigslist.
Okay. And that just has to make the mattress store sales guy just cringe because he's gone through the work. He showed you the product. He told you what you need to solve your issue, and you did not give him the extra $20 for having a brick and mortar store and answering your questions. You in turn ran out. You took the plan that he gave you for how he's going to help you meet your goals, and you went with the cheaper person. And that poor guy down at the mattress store is left there wondering, where did this client go?
He's eating tube steak tonight,
Yeah,
Tom.
exactly.
Yeah.
But they said they'd be back. They swore to me they'd be back.
They won't be back, Tom.
Nope. Thanks, Amazon. Appreciate
Nope.
it. Yep. So anyway, it's the same feeling we get. And that's why it's really important that, and it's not just on target digital marketing, it's not just advanced system solutions. It comes down to common courtesy.
Amen, brother.
That if somebody
Preach.
is going to take the time to create something for you, to talk to you about your goals, your wants, your needs, and how you can accomplish those, if you can't take 5 minutes out of your day to thank them for being so generous with their thought process, I don't know that those are the people we need to be working with.
No, you're absolutely correct. And or even the thank you is great, but even more importantly, and you said it before, offer us up some solid suggestions on maybe why you didn't choose to go with us. That's cool. I want that.
Absolutely. I was called into a company in Sanford that said, they wanted clarification because they just didn't understand how we could be so much cheaper than the client, than the competition, pardon me. And the reason was, he said, I'm afraid you're going to bleed us dry on hours, on our, hourly
Overages,
requests.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. And so that was his big fear. But by telling me that, I knew that going forward, that this is a barrier that I'm going to have to deal with, and that I need to address up front the fact that if they're concerned with us hitting them on overages, they should talk with any of our current clients and see if that's how we roll.
Sure.
And they're going to find out it's not, because honesty is, our number one policy. So
Honesty is the best policy, Tom.
Amen.
Now,
So-
I'm not going to lie. I see what I did. I have told a couple white lies to the in-laws.
Yeah.
Where are you going, Tom? Well, I'm sure as hell not going out to the Outback Steakhouse with the rest of the family and not bringing you, if that's what you're wondering. Am I
was
right?
Where are you going, Tom?
My answer is, I'm just running out of the. See you in a minute. Yeah, works out well for me, Tom. I'm going to have to suggest you try that as
Man,
well.
you were full of wisdom today.
Yeah, and they think, what they do first is they'll be reaching for the hearing aid.
Right.
To try, battery's low.
Could you pick me up a battery while you're out? And get some Werthers.
Yeah, see?
Or
So,
those cinnamon discs. Do yours ask for that? Those discs?
it's so easy at this point in their lives with the taste buds gone from so much NyQuil that really it could be just a little wafer, and they're
Just
thinking
a
that
wafer.
It's sweet. Yeah. So it works
Like
out
a
well
piece
for
of
me.
cardboard, maybe.
Kind of wafer-like.
Sure.
It-
Waferish.
Yeah, I like the idea. So,
Tom, you know what time it is, my friend.
is it that time?
It certainly is.
Man,
It's time to dig into that mail sack,
I'm
Tom.
glad
and-
somebody's in charge of this podcast, because I'm just, I'm all over the board over here.
Well, it's fine. We dig into the mail sack. We seek wisdomful questions from our listeners, and it's very humid in the mail sack today. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah?
It's getting
Yeah.
kind of toasty.
All
Getting
right,
kind of toasty.
Who are we hearing from today?
We've got Kendra from Kathmandu, Tom. Kathmandu.
Wow.
And there's a song about that.
There, it's good old Bob Seeger.
Yeah.
Yep. But my father must have been talking about us over there.
You think so?
He was over there in that area recently, and over in Nepal, and flew around Mount Everest.
Business or pleasure, Tom?
Absolute pleasure. He's
right.
just touring the globe these days. Gotta love it.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So,
so-
Tom, what's Kendra's question for us today?
Kendra's question is also in regards to procrastination, so that's why we threw it in here. But it's not really on topic with what we've been discussing.
That's okay. It's okay to talk
Kendra
about it.
was curious about the outages that have happened this last week.
Ooh, curious Kendra
That's
from
right.
Kathmandu.
I love that. Good
Yeah.
job. So Kendra was wondering, what is the best way to address outages such as the Azure incident that happened this
It
week?
sounds so fancy when you say it, Tom.
Kind of sounded French,
it's
you know.
kinda crappy.
We need some French.
Oui, bonjour.
Yeah, see, there we go. Some.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Whatever that meant. God bless you. But no. So what happened this week, everybody, is Microsoft Azure, which is where a lot of companies can store their servers in the cloud.
Garbage.
It went offline for a couple hours, and that was a big problem for some companies, but not as big as the other outage, which happened last week and is still rolling into this week. There is a hosting company out there. We're gonna lay off them and not mention their name, but
We're kind people, Tom.
they have been down for over 8 days.
Damn.
And so imagine if you have, and forget whatever the service is. You know, we've got cloud-based POS systems now. We've got cloud-based customer relation management systems where all the data for our clients is kept, and cloud-based email. All of these solutions are fantastic because they provide accessibility to our employees and team members when they're out in the field. They can get that same data that Jenny at the front desk or in HR can get. So it's really, really
Jenny
useful.
from the block, Tom.
I like that.
Am I right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little too new for me, but I'm still on that Bob Seger kick from a minute ago.
Sure.
But with these solutions, you've got to plan for outages. We recently rolled out a cloud-based POS system to an event company here in town. Really, just an awesome solution. They saved a ton of money.
Because they didn't have to put crappy PCs in their office, Tom.
Or Macs. God, could you imagine how much that
It'd
would
be
have cost?
amazing if they did
Oh,
that.
my God. That'd just be,
Change the world.
break the bank right there. But so what happens is that as soon as they were up, I said to them, okay, now, if the internet goes down, what are you going to do? Well, we'll just work offline. No, that's not how these solutions work. If the internet goes down, these solutions are not available for you. So you have to, Kendra, create a plan for what will happen if A, that computer's gone. What if somebody came in and stole the computer in the middle of the night? How would your business operate the next day? It's the same thing. What if the internet went down? It could be a truck hitting the box at the corner that knocks out the internet to the entire neighborhood.
I've seen that happen.
Seen it many times. Yep. Or
That's right.
construction workers digging, knocking out the fiber.
Oh, what's this cord do?
Exactly.
Right.
Yep. So again, if you don't create a data recovery plan, you'd better plan to lose your data. That's just the way. That's
I like
my
it when you say that, Tom.
Yeah, that's my tagline. I'm trying to get it to catch on, but
Yeah,
I'm
it's
still
catchy.
working hard.
Yeah.
But if you don't create a data recovery plan, when the internet goes out, when the computer or the whatever device it is fails, you're going to be left wondering, then what do we do? You need to think about that now, Kendra, and create a plan. So what this entertainment company did was they created a recovery plan where they have that little square, that attaches to the iPad or your cell phone, and
Attaches
they
to
can
an
swipe the
iPad,
credit
Tom.
card. It
That's
does.
genius.
Yeah, well, except for the whole iPad part, but that's beside the point.
Whatever.
Point being is they had a way to accept payment. They had a way to, they have liability forms at this complex. So they printed out these liability forms and had a stack of them ready to go. And again, in the event that things go offline. So Kendra, that's my advice to you is you've got to create a plan. If you don't, you can plan to lose.
And Kendra, you got to look, unfortunately, at the worst case scenario and work yourself backwards.
That's
and
exactly
it's
it.
not always gloom and doom in our world, but it certainly can be, and it can go south within seconds.
Yep.
Right?
And do you know how happy Kendra would be when things
If she had
go
a Mac?
south and she had it all set up, ready to go?
She would be a superstar, Tom.
It's exactly it. And that's what we try to do is we try to make heroes, Tom.
That's right. And Kendra, you will be our next hero. So, Curious Kendra from Kathmandu, I want to thank you so much for spending some time with our mail sack today. We really appreciated you dropping us a line into the sack.
Absolutely. And we invite our other listeners to do the same. If there's something you want to hear about, something you'd like to learn about, drop a line. Let us know.
Yeah, go visit the old T2TechTalkPodcast.com website, Tom. You'll find all kinds of wisdom and amazing Mac products. There's testimonials there about how wonderful Apple is. There's some crappy comments about PCs in there. But fill out the form, ask us a question, and we'll talk about yours on the next show.
Look forward to it.
Tom, we've covered a lot today, my friend.
We certainly have. We did not procrastinate.
We sure as hell did not.
No, just took it as it came, knocked it out, and there we go. Write this one off, Tom.
That's right. So we encourage you to keep your PCs, your crappy PCs updated. Keep those operating systems updated. Make sure you check your routers and all your other gadgetry that's plugged into your internet and make sure that the firmware is updated on those. Those can be a little bit tricky, so make sure you reach out to my friend Tom at advancedsystemsolutions.com. He can help guide you through that turbulent waters.
And they'll have no problem finding us. Do you know why?
Because of Google, Tom?
Thanks to On Target Digital Marketing.
He always makes me blush when he
Yeah,
does
well,
that.
I tell you, it's you could have Googled our name and not found us a couple years ago. So we really have to thank On Target for helping us to raise our game to meet the game of our clients.
Well, it's our pleasure. It's what we do, Tom. So listen, we thank and we're very grateful for all of our eager listeners and Kendra out there and Kathmandu. You're the best. We appreciate you all. And share this podcast with a friend. We'd love it if you did that. Take care. Bye-bye.
This podcast was recorded at the On Target Podcasting Studio.